One part of the funding and support community for startups is incubators and accelerators, and they're fairly similar in the sense that they provide some money against equity, so they buy some equity in the startup companies, and then they help them a lot for a period of time. Incubators are quite often partly public funded, so that you can have an incubator at a university or a technical school. You can have an incubator for a region of a country. You can have an incubator for a special area of technology or lifestyle. So very often you have local communities or public institutions or private universities setting these up. And this is super helpful in terms of motivating, for instance, students to start up companies. So accelerators come in typically a bit later. It's still early stage, but it's not the cradle. It's not a completely newborn baby or baby to be born. It's a child that, and what happens is that the young startup companies, they can apply to be accepted into a program by an accelerator, and then they will be there typically for 3 to 6 months. Each of these accelerators tend to have a fixed investment program, so they invest a fixed amount, often exactly the same amount in every company that comes in, and very often they require pretty much the same amount of equity for it, which can be 2 to 10%, something like that. Then they have a fixed staff, and then typically they have some freelancers who work as mentors, who can give support in terms of fundraising and marketing and sales and web marketing and legal issues and so on. In most cases, the companies relocate to premises of the accelerator during the program, but there are some where they don't. One of the important things is that the accelerators try to set them up for the next funding round. At the end of the program at an accelerator, you have a demo day and an investor day. So the demo day is like a rehearsal in a sense, where each of the different startup companies, they go on stage and they have a lot of time to present what they are all about. It can be anything from 2 minutes to 10 minutes or something like that. It's quick because there are many of them. And in the demo day, you have sort of friends of the house available, and some of these can step forward and say, I would actually like to invest in you. And normally nobody commits on a demo day, because after that comes investor day, which is professional investors, venture capital funds, and so on. And then they sit there and they listen to all the presentations. And it's almost like these talent shows on television, one after the other, and some create great excitement, some less. And the investors then chat together, and you quickly sense that there are, maybe if there are 100 companies that do demos, that most of the investors are focused on 6 that are really cool. And then everybody gets frantic about getting on board in the 6, and some say, we will invest. Most probably say, we think we will invest, but we need to do due diligence. I can understand that. But it's very efficient for the startup companies, because they get tuned, they learn a lot. They also meet the other companies. That there's a point in getting them to sit together, because they inspire each other. Many of them have similar challenges to do web marketing, to develop some software. So you chat in the canteen, you work together, you become friends, you might make marketing alliances later, and so on. But also, it's great for them to be presented on stage, because everybody knows that whoever got accepted into an accelerator they constitute a fairly small fraction of all the companies that try to get in. So it's like a diploma. It's a badge of honor that you've been through a good accelerator program, and it's also great for them that when they present at the demo day, and especially at the investor day, that here you have a great community of investors with money, ready and eager to invest in hot startups. For the accelerator, it works quite well as well because they buy equity quite cheaply, because they provide this support and this forum where you can get great investors. So in many cases, they invest, and then the next round done by other investors as a substantial higher price, and some of the companies go really well. Just like there are 2,000 crowdsourcing sites, around 2,000 crowdsourcing sites in the world, there are also around 2,000 accelerators in the world. Some of them are very, very focused on a niche, technology niche, or some other niche. Many of them are not. But I would recommend startups to think about getting into an accelerator program. You may not make it, but it's worth considering. And one thing that is important to understand is that there are, just as there are great incubators and there are great accelerators, there are also some bad ones. There are some jokes. So you really have to check what happened with the companies that have been in this program. Are any of these companies successful? If you go in and check on Y Combinator, which is the most famous accelerator in the world, then the fraction of their companies that have been on their program that become unicorns, which means that they become worth more than $1 billion, started being close to 2%, which is a very high fraction. And it's been growing slowly, so now I think it's something like 5%. So that means that if you would just randomly invest in every single startup that had been in Y Combinator, you would have a great chance of making great returns on your money.
Do you speak future?